Alright, how is everyone going? My name's David. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you my Australian bearded dragon. You know, everyone knows the bearded dragon, one of the most iconic kept pets in the world. You know, the #1 kept pet in America, and you know, it's pretty popular in Australia as well. So, this is my bearded dragon. I'm going to get him out. Now, his name is Erastus. My dad gave me that. My dad gave me his gave him that name when he was a little baby, about that big. You know, really tiny. Bought him when he was a little weeny little baby. So the name, you know, just stuck with him, and I've called him, you know, that from every now and then. So what I'll do, I'll get him out, you know, give him a look at you so you can have a look at him, and then I'll show you around the tank what I've got in there, and you know what I use and some of my techniques I have for keeping my bearded dragon. So I'll get him out so we can have a look. Hey, Erastus. Here he is, beautiful boy. Alright, I'll get him in the light a bit just so you can see, because he does have some nice colours. Alright, so this is Erastus. He is 2.5 years old. He's a beautiful boy, aren't you? So, now the Australian bearded dragon in captivity, the average lifespan is averagely, I've known a lot of people to have him for 10 to 15 years. I've met a guy who's had one for, his was about 18.5 years old. Big fella. It was bloody huge. It was outrageous to have a look at. So now a couple of cool little things that these guys have, you know, little mechanisms and things they use to, you know, defend themselves and help, you know, offense attackers and stuff. Now when these guys, you know, for breeding, when they get angry, when they want to show their size and how big they are, this, everyone knows, this flapper skin under here does actually, you'll puff it out and it'll turn jet black. As I said, for breeding, you know, attracting females, and you know, look how big I am. You know, I'm very scary. He'll open up his mouth and just sort of gasp, and you know, just try and look really scary. And also, everyone knows, you know, the head bobs and the arm waves they use. You know, they're very cool and fun to watch, especially when you get two of them in there. Yeah. What else about this guy? Now his diet mainly, because he's in the teenage years, I'll show you in a second, he mainly eats bearded dragon pellet food and salad. That's a day-to-day meal. Insects every now and then, and I even give this guy a frozen wiener mice sometimes. You know, that's like a once-a-month treat, you know. He loves it. So what I'll do, I'll show you inside his enclosure so you can have a look around, you know, what I use and the techniques, as I said before, what I use in there. So, you want to go back in there? Wicked. Alright. There you go. Now the temperament of the Australian bearded dragon, they are very inquisitive but docile. So, you know, they're not, even if one does escape, you're pretty much going to find them near a window where sunlight is. So if one does get out, if one, you know, you do lose yours, you know, look for sunlight, because that's the #1 spot where they do go. Alright, so I'll show you inside the cage. So inside his cage, he has a pyramid. That's where he sleeps and he chills out most of the day, and he just chills out there and comes up on top in the morning, you know, to get his sunlight, and he flats out his body and puffs his neck out to get as much sunlight and as heat as he can. Now up the top, I have a 25-watt ceramic heater inside there. So, you know, because I live in Australia, you don't need anything too hot because it's now summertime and it's bloody hot anyway. A little bit of decor hanging on the back of the wall there. Not really necessary, you know, more for look. So, and then also if you have a look up in the back, I have 2 temperature gauges, one for temperature and one for humidity. Now the temperature now is about 38 degrees. So, I mean, that's hot, and like, you know, 38 degrees Celsius, sorry. I don't want to, you know, Fahrenheit people go, oh, you know, it's a little bit too cold. So 38 degrees Celsius. And the humidity, it's around 30 at the moment. You don't need it too high, the humidity, because, you know, they just don't need it because they can get respiratory problems if the humidity is too high. So as I said, there's his bearded dragon pellet food, and I have a little salad bowl that I make up for him. You know, I give him steak and stuff. I'm eating a steak, I'll give him a little bit. You know, he's fed really well, and he's, you know, he loves it. Now in the back, the water bowl in there. So, and it's big enough. You need one where it's big enough he can actually get in there and sit in there. Because if it is a hot day and he needs to thermoregulate, he needs one that he can fully soak his body in there. So that's a perfect size. A little bit of decor surrounding it as well, you know, just to make him feel at home. A happy reptile is a safe reptile. So now I'm using, this is, it's called Reptisan. I don't know if you can buy it in America. I buy this in Australia from a pet shop, a very lovely pet shop I always go to, and I've never had a problem with it. I've never had impactions or anything. People are always talking about impactions. I've never had a problem with it. So yeah, well, that's his cage, and as I said, it's Erastus. You know, he's 2.5 years old, Australian inland bearded dragon, and there are other types of bearded dragons. People know, you know, there's the pygmy bearded dragon, which is another type one, very, very small. They don't grow bigger, probably a little bit smaller than this guy, and they're full grown. So yeah, that's Erastus, and you know, you can post any questions you have about the enclosure, you know, what I've talked about, and you know, feel free. You know, I'm happy to take advice of people, and you know, I'm happy to help out people. So you know, this is David Mead signing off from Australia, and you know, hopefully, you know, you love the video. So see you later.